Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustment. Man, we are back. Eddie Arnell, J. Lou.
Yes, sir.
G Wick couldn't be with us tonight, but he'll be back for the next one, man. But welcome back, man. 2024 training camp, Tennessee Titans. J. Lou, man. What's going on, man? What's going on?
What's going on, Ed? Tighten up, baby. Tighten up. Football season right around the corner, finally.
Finally, man. It seems like it just takes forever. The season
Yeah,
goes by
man.
so fast, and then it just takes forever to get back. But man,
It's
glad to
that
be back.
long 6 weeks after the mini camp.
That's right.
From June to July.
Right. That's right, man. And so coming in, man, we got this is new. This is new for everybody, right?
Yeah.
New for everybody. New offense, new scheme, new defensive scheme. We're gonna touch on all that tonight, man, because there's some things that even Jay Lou said himself is this real in Nissan Stadium when we seeing these blitzes by the linebackers and this press coverage by these DBs, man? But come on in, man. Get a seat, man. Eddie Gray, man. Appreciate you, brother, for coming on with us tonight, man, and everybody that's coming. So, Jay Lou, man, what are some of the position battles? Because there's a lot of positions, I'm going to say, that's up for grabs, if you will, if you want to say that, right? A lot of competition. Definitely competition on the field, man. But what is catching your eye so far in position battles?
I think I just start with the elephant in the room, man. That right side of the line.
Right.
I think from everything you're hearing right now, I think that Sadiq Charles is probably your week one starting right guard. But right tackle, man, you're hearing a lot of good things out of John O. Some things they liking to see, but the problem is with John O. He just hasn't solidified it yet. I mean, technically, as crazy as it's gonna sound, I feel like it's still in NPIs, not NPI, NPFs to lose. And I mean, he's been out there. There's talk that they hope they can get him back Friday. I mean, he had some cleanup surgery during the summer that wasn't on the shoulder. I think it was on the knee this time. And you just got to think about. I mean, we talked about. He's in the same camp to me as a Traylon Burks, where this has got to be a prove-it year for him. You got to think about it. He ain't really played a lot of ball. He had the gambling suspension last year. Played a game or two, got hurt for the season and been out. So I mean, he literally hadn't played a lot of ball since rookie year. But I think you had to put him. The difference between him and Burks, even though I put them both in the same camp, Burks. This is be honest, he don't have a shot at a starting position right now. At this point, I think he can get in the rotation, et cetera, and might do some things on special teams that we can talk about later. But MPF, nobody has really taken his spot. So you've got to see him get out there, and he's got to earn it. I mean, again, you hope he can get on the field this weekend. But I think that's the battle that I've really been watching and catching my eye, because I mean, as a Titan fan, we see the weapons that we have at the skill position, and I'm going to include the running back because we have a different style of running back that we haven't quite seen since Chris Johnson. And I'm not talking about speed, because I know folks don't say CJ2K was special, which he was, but you got to remember that year he ran for 2,000. He set the all-purpose record within the league because of his receiving yards that year, and we got two backs like that. So we haven't seen that since then. On top of, I can't think of the last time the Titans were able to go 3 deep at wide receiver outside of the Houston Oilers days. If you're being honest about it,
we hadn't seen that.
We haven't seen it. So to think about the skill position players we got, man, you've got to give Will Levis a shot. And again, that's all based on what that offensive line can do. So I would say that right tackle position, that battle is one that's going to be one I continue to watch the rest of the summer.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there's an odd man out in this equation, and that's Daniel Brunskill.
Yes.
Sadiq Charles has came in and kind of took the right guard position from him, because we thought, going into the offseason that, they'll probably have Brunskill center guard, whatever. And he would be a heavy contributor to this offensive line. I'm not saying he won't, but we know right now that he's not going to be the right guard. At least it appears to be that way, right?
Right, correct.
And I agree with you on NPF. They were talking him up the other day, trying to get him back out there on the field. Had a little offseason cleanup in his knee or whatever it was. And so, the right side is the side that's the question. From the left side over to the center, It seems to be good right now. It seems to be good.
And from everything you hearing, and I listen to I listen to 104.5 all day long with work and all, but
Yeah,
from everything you hearing from a Ramon Foster and a Brad Hopkins who played the offensive position,
right.
both of them guys are salivating at what they're seeing out of Skoronski. I mean, to the point where they said it looked like it's clicking.
Yeah.
And I mean, you add. We thought he was a blue chip player. I mean, he went high in the draft for a reason,
Right.
and to give him a phenomenal coach in Daddy Callahan that he has. I mean, the sky can be the limit, and if it clicks for the young man, because again, what you got to remember about Skoronski, for those that you look back at the tape and think he struggled at the end of the year, he didn't have good help on either side of the ball. I mean, on either side of him, and then he had the unfortunate injury during the middle of the season with the surgery and all that, lost weight. So to your point about that left side, from center to left, we might solidify that and be average. That's all we're looking for. We're not asking to be great this year. We just want to be average.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say this is what's gonna happen, but they almost have the remake of the left side. You know how Taylor Lewan and Schofield, they call themselves the left side because they had that power run side.
Mm-hmm.
And Latham and Peter, man, there are some big young men. So a lot of girth on that side of the ball. I really like, and Taylor brought it up, so I'm going to go there, man. Let's talk about the backup quarterback position, J. Lou, because somebody on this show, and I'm not going to say who it was, said that if Malik got some coaching, he might threaten to be the backup quarterback on his football team. So far, and I know it's early in camp, and I know it's not live game action, but from what we've been seeing and hearing, the DBs are just putting the clamps on the receivers in some cases, right? Roughing them up, causing things to be difficult in the secondary, man. But Malik, they said he's been looking good, J. Lou. He's been getting some coaching.
I mean, we saw if you've been on social media from the back together camp that they did Saturday at the stadium and looked at some videos. Malik's you can see the progression. Let's remember, this is his third season. Yeah, third season. The unfortunate part for Malik, and he said it himself, everybody already knew he was behind the 8 ball because, I mean, he admitted himself he didn't. The offense he had in college was not pro ready he frees offering. So he admitted that. You got to think, this is third year in the league. This is his third offensive coordinator and offense that he's learning in the league. The difference, however, is what we kept bringing up, and I saw Eddie Gray just say to give credit to himself because Eddie Gray, you have been on that Malik train. Yes. You are the one. Yeah. The difference that we kept saying that we didn't want to write him off though was we kept and I think me and you both said this because I was under the impression I didn't want Malik here this year if Vrabel was still the coach. Because I said I wanted Malik to get an opportunity with somebody different that would cater to him and help coach him up. And you got a head coach who is a quarterback guru. I mean, that's what he's worked with when you look at what he's worked with. And the thing that I like to see if you read what's coming out of camp and seeing some of it, I don't want to say having a whole different playbook for Malik, but the plays and stuff that they seem to be having him run cater to his skill set, which is what we beat a dead horse on about. I love Vrabel. No knock on Vrabel because he did get us to another level. Yeah. But that's the one knock that I think we all can agree we had on Vrabel's staff around him, not just Vrabel and some of the staff, was that they just were not good at developing players to get them ready. And now you see a coaching staff that's taking the opportunity to develop that. I mean, I will say this. That is probably the most quietest battle that's on the field right now that people aren't talking about is that backup QB, because if you look at the money that Mason was paid, Mason was brought in here to be the backup. I think we all can agree with that with the contract. So he was brought in for that. But if Malik's still on a rookie deal, he's on a 3-year deal. He's cheap. He's cheap. So cheap. I mean, he's gonna make it. And again, live bullets haven't been flying yet. That'll be next Saturday. But if you continue to see the progression that he's making with the coaching, watch out because the talent's there.
Man. I mean, I know. I was happy to see that he's getting the opportunity to showcase his skill set. Not only that, but they're coaching him up, like we've been saying. He coaching him up, getting him ready. interesting position battle there. The wide receiver room, we know where that sits, right?
Oh yeah,
We just need to figure out who is 4 and 5. No,
Not
5
5.
because
Yeah.
NWI is 4, right? And
Yes.
so we know who the top 4 are. We just need to
Mhm.
figure out who 5 is. Is that Kyle Phillips? Is that Burks? Is that who is that? Is it Mason? So is it Jackson? Because he's a punt returner as well. Will he even be the punt returner?
Which Jackson you talking about?
Kearis Jackson. I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna talk about the other Jackson. With
Yes.
the key. Yeah, the
rookie. Yeah, because he's got some route running ability as well, man, which looks very phenomenal because he's quick in his cuts. Jaquan Jackson, he's quick in his cuts. He got some speed. He got some downfield speed too, where he can stretch the defense, and he's a punt returner and a kick returner. So so those positions, like the right side, like you mentioned, and then the wide receiver room after 4. It's still up in the air. Now, I agree with you, though. Sadiq Charles is probably the right guard. So we're looking for that right tackle, which NPF, when he gets healthy, we'll see how that does. We still got Jalen Duncan sitting out there. They signed Corey Levin for backup center. So, again, Brunskill, he's like the odd man out right now.
Yes. He will probably, if he makes this team, that's your utility man that fits him because he can play any role on the offensive line.
He can.
And he's a veteran. Right. And again, he showed some toughness last year. So
he did.
To me, that the utility man role, that is a Titan fan, that's what you want him to be, because you don't need him starting every game for you. But if I need a game or two here or there at any position, I'd rather him come in and play that than us depending on him for 16, 17 games.
Right. And so so the offensive side of the ball, tight end, Chig, Josh Wiley. Then you got the other guy they signed from the Chargers. But there's another kid, Vanette.
Vanette.
Thomas O is doing some things, and then they got an undrafted rookie they got in there that's making some noise. So that position is still kind of, after the second guy, which Vanette is going to be. I'm assuming they're going to keep him because they signed him, right?
Yeah.
And so you go 3 tight ends, maybe a 4th for special teams, but that's probably already solidified as well. And so looking at the defense side of the ball, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit it because Nathan, man, appreciate you coming on tonight, man. He's been talking about Kenneth Walker. And listening to today's Denard Wilson's press conference, yes, man, they said they gave him.
I think he means Kenneth Murray.
Yeah,
Not
Kenneth
Walker,
Murray. I'm sorry. Yeah, Murray. I'm thinking. I saw. Yeah,
Mhm.
Kenneth Murray. My bad.
Yes.
So Kenneth Murray, they've given him not the green dot. They've given him the green
light. You heard that too. The green light.
Right. He flying all over the football field, making plays. I mean, contact, loving the way he's making contact on the ball carriers, man. And then, you got to love that. He also talked to Dr. Gibby.
Yeah, so
Dr. Gibby. He said he's a tackling machine.
That's why I was going to go next. I was literally about to go that the unsung battle that nobody's talking about is Dr. Gibby and Cedric. I haven't heard a mention of Cedric Gray, the rookie from North Carolina.
Very little.
I think that was a position that any Titan fan can agree. Yeah. Gibby is a tackling machine, but Gibby will get you beat with speed.
Yes.
I'm curious to see, though. We have yet to see. We're going based off what we know of Gibby, and we know he can tackle. We've seen the scheme he was in, and he is. Both of them they're going to give you opportunities with coverage because it's not. They're going to be liabilities. We haven't seen the defense out there yet, and again, from an aggressive standpoint, I don't know how much we're wanting the linebackers to worry about coverage, if that makes sense, with some of the things you can uniquely do with the DBs and the safeties that we've talked about. So to make this point, because I see him now saying he's not worried about inside linebacker no more. Mm-hmm. I'm somewhat hesitant to agree, but I agree at the moment simply because if those two guys, if you got Gibby that can sure up running and tackling, and you've given Murray the green light to just go downfield, and we know he's a missile, and I haven't even talked about my guy Otis Reed, then I think that's your pressure that you're bringing from that standpoint. So
right. And like they did Saturday, we saw some linebacker blitzes. I mean, what?
Yes.
What was that? What was that? What was going on there?
We ain't seen linebacker blitzes at Nissan Stadium for the Titans, and I don't know how we.
Right. Shout out to Kid Lou, man. Thank you for joining the show. Virgil, man, thank you for jumping in tonight with us, man. Appreciate you coming, man. Taylor, I saw you too, man. Appreciate you. He also mentioned Jamal Adams, a good pickup or not. Is he a good pickup? I think he is because he's cheap.
I was just about to say, business-wise, he is on a vet minimum. He's playing for something to prove, and it's the position that I think they're going to put him in. I think we still go get another safety. And Jamal Adams, if you think about it, and again, think about the attacking style that this defense is. He's with the defensive coordinator was with him when he was great with the Jets. It's Nathan just took it out. It's very low, high risk pickup because if Jamal Adams gets you just 7 or 8 sacks, because I feel like he's going to be a situational blitzer. We don't want him in pass coverage.
No,
and I think the coaching staff knows that. Yeah. I think they brought him in as somebody who can disguise in the box with that hybrid linebacker position, bring you pressure, and again knows the defensive coordinator. So I'm like, I think it's very low risk because you didn't when the contract came out and I saw that was the first thing I texted. I was like, oh yeah, you make that deal twice over.
Right. That's right. You make it twice over. And I mean, without a doubt, right? Because if you can get anything out of him before he started getting hurt,
right.
If you can get any of that play, I mean, that's a silver lining right there.
Yes, sir.
And so you like you say, you bring him in and it looks more and more like what we talked about on the previous episodes about that hybrid type defense, that nickel defense with a safety in the box with Kenneth Murray in the box. Yeah. I don't see how we're not playing that. Because the quiet is kept, man. And we hadn't heard anything about the rookie out of Miami that's transitioned over to linebacker, but we have been hearing about Jarvis Brownlee Jr.
Yeah, he makes the team. I think he makes the team as cornerback 4 or 5, and you got to think. Just go back to his press conference when he got signed as a rookie. He's coming in with a chip on the shoulder, but he got an attitude. And I think that's what we pointed out when we was chatting. He's got a nasty attitude. I like him. You already brought up DB spot, so I'm just going to beat you to it because I couldn't hold it.
Go ahead.
Why does this kept? Caleb Farley?
Farley.
Just go look at some videos of Caleb Farley. Quiet as this kept. If he can stay healthy. Hey.
Who do we see him lock up the other day? D-Hop.
He locked up D-Hop.
He locked him up.
Locked up D-Hop. And the one thing we'll say about Farley, which again, take the injuries away from it, I did not think that he fit the scheme of the previous coaching staff because we thought he was man-to-man with speed. You've got to – I'm going to put this out there for the folks listening to us. As a Titan fan, you have to mentally prepare yourself for, at minimum, 3 to 4 pass interference or holding calls a game.
No doubt about it.
A game. But that's what you want. I would rather take that than be 10 yards off the ball.
Right.
And if anything, if you've seen anything out of mini camp, out of the first week or so of training camp, especially one-on-ones, they are coaching them to be in their face.
Man.
And that's what you want.
Every position on the fit. Every film that we've seen of DBs, they've been press coverage. Now, a couple of they weren't. But, I mean, the Caleb Farley, if there is a star right now in camp, him and Brownlee Jr., when I saw that he was playing like that, I was like, man, come on, man.
And what people got to remember, both of these guys, which I expect both of them to make the team, both of them are going to get not only valuable reps in preseason, but they're going to get valuable reps in practice because let's just be honest, we know, Cheeto's already out for at least a month with the calf.
Yep.
And then you know that Ladarius Sneed, he's going to be on a management plan, so he's not going to practice a ton. So they've got to take the reps, and that can only benefit them to get more coaching.
Yeah. And it's so good to see, man. What a great story, Caleb Farley, man. I just can't talk about it enough, man. I can't speak enough, and that goes to show you that's right. Coaching Taylor and Eddie Gray, man. Coaching, we see the difference already. Now, again, we know it's not live bullets. We know it's not a live, contact, tackle, cover, all that stuff. But coverage is actually pretty good. Coverage is actually live because of the, the route running and things of that nature. Yeah. So we're getting to see a lot of good one-on-one battles in camp so far. And not only that, but you see Treylon Burks even playing some good ball, running in shape. I mean, so when it comes down to that money, man, people really straight up and get in line. But again, I think it's the coaching. I think it's the coaching.
I was just about to, and again, I'm not knocking Vrabel. I loved Vrabel. He literally took the Titans to that next level. And years with him was great. The problem is let's just think. And again, I put this in. I got a 21-year-old son. You got teenage boys. That generation is different. I got my son play high school. He played. I have to say high school. He's playing college ball.
Right.
That's a different type of athlete now than what Vrabel was coaching. That has went out of the league. You've got to be think about the coaches around the league right now. You don't have any more of those hard-nosed Belichick's for a reason. Yeah, they're great. And Big Andy Reid, Big Red, is the perfect example. Now, they say Big Red is tough when it comes to practice, tough with training camp and all, but he's a player's coach at the end of the day. Right. And I think that makes a difference when you're talking about different types of this next generation's type personality. Some of them don't take that yelling and getting on them and embarrassing and all that. It mentally gets with them. Fulton is the prime example that I think was something like that. Man. You've got a different coaching staff in here, and this coaching staff mixes with being able to teach this young team that we got, coach them up. And I think you're going to see some of these young guys that we might have been on the fence about the last couple of years because they just was in the doghouse. Let's put it that way.
Right.
They've been unleashed now. So you might be able to see their potential for reasons why they were selected.
Right. You're exactly right. And so the question is, Taylor said, how much is losing Autry going to affect the D-line? Well,
you lost 11 sacks.
You lost 11 sacks, right? And so now you lose that pass rush presence on the side of Jeffrey, right? And the other side of Harold Landry, right? And so now you throw on top of that Arden Key's going to be out 6 games unless they bring somebody else in. So now you're down another guy that is, basically a pass rusher, not a specialist. He had like six sacks last year. He's not that good against the run. They've even said he's a situational player. And so I think this is gonna hurt a lot because unless Weaver steps up, you got Weaver, you got the rookie Jalen Harrell from Michigan. Unless those guys step, Caleb Murphy is still on the team.
Yeah.
If those guys step up, or Shane Ray, who they brought in, they probably could make a difference. We don't know, but I think they add somebody else on the front. Particularly on the edge.
My one thing I'm gonna say, because I do think it hurts. It's hard when you got to replace 11 sacks. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But if that 360-pound man comes to play like we think he can play, named Sweat beside Jeff,
yes sir.
I don't think you miss it as much. Let me put it that way. Right now, I think that you miss it because at the end of the day, you still got to get out the quarterback. Right. But if Big Sweat eats like he's eating beside Jeff, I mean, think about it. There's a picture floating around from practice last week. We all know Big Jeff is a big monster.
Yeah.
When he was standing next to Sweat,
he looked little.
He looked like little Jeff.
Right. Little Jeff.
So just think about that. If Sweat eats on that line, they can get him in shape, and Sweat can be a 3-down player for you. I don't think you miss it as much because then at that point in time, you only need your DNs. The DNs at that point become what every NFL player wants. They're going to be playing one-on-ones because you got to double team either Big Jeff or Sweat. That just leaves them tackles one-on-one.
Right. And Rodney just made that point too, man. Don't sleep on Sweat on the defense. Definitely. Eddie Gray. They both got suspended. They got suspended, both Danico and Arden Key both got suspended 6 games. Eddie Gray says Scheme can get you 4 or 5 of those sacks back. I definitely agree.
Agreed. Yes.
Definitely agree. And Taylor says Sweat's got to mature first before he produces.
I'd agree with that.
And so, and plus now you got to get in game shape. I don't care what kind of shape you come into camp. I mean, you got to be in shape to come into camp, but you got to get in game shape. Wearing those pads and those helmets, that is a big difference.
Big
coming into camp. And that's what they've been talking about. He's got to get in shape as far as taking the reps, running to the ball, doing those type things for Sweat. I think he's going to be good, man. I think he's got the right people around him with Tracy Rocker and Jeff and those veterans on the defense.
And then, he's got his old teammate on the line with him too.
Yeah,
that they signed. What is his name?
I forgot his name. It's Keydron
Coburn.
Keydre Coleman. Yeah. And so he's got some people there around him, man, that'll help him. And then, like Nathan says, Landry can go all game usually. And Landry, if he comes back and he had 12.5 sacks last year.
Yeah.
No,
And Landry just reported back today. You hate to hear he had
sick.
an illness, and that whatever it was, he lost 10 to 15 pounds. Now, one thing I like that I heard from the coaching staff, and they said it about him and NPF as well. They wanted these guys. You're gonna lose weight in camp anyway. I mean, it's 110 degrees outside today, but you're gonna lose weight anyway. But they wanted them. Like I think Landry, when I heard them talk today, he got back to his planned weight before they put him back on the field. So even though he lost 10 to 15 pounds, I think he was back up to what they wanted to play at because they know you're gonna lose some weight, and then he's putting back on. You would expect him to put it back on the right way with muscle now. So be interesting to see. And again, it's a good sign that again it was an illness. That it wasn't nothing that was, soft tissue. He got over the illness, and they're just working his way back through. And I mean, he still got 7 weeks or so before we even see the first game. So
there's going to be some tough decisions, man, in this secondary because right now we know it's going to be Chig and L'Jarius starting, right?
Yeah.
And then, but you got if Caleb Farley still produces, you got.
I would throw Roger in there because we're gonna go through
Roger's in there too, right? Yeah. Roger's a nickelback. You got Brownlee Jr. You got Gabe Judy, the undrafted free agent.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been playing great. You got Matthew Jackson that's playing great at safety. And so there's going to be I see special teams is going to be a lot for these guys, but the secondary is going to be actually pretty good, man. I think we're going to see a pretty good secondary this year.
And I think you finally, we talked about coaching.
Yeah,
they held over the same DB coach that we had from last year.
Yes, sir.
And we kept saying he basically last year when he came here was in the position that our D coordinator is now where everybody was saying he was the next D coordinator. Mm-hmm. I think he got put into a position where you were probably forced to run a scheme and coach a scheme that don't fit his coaching style.
Right.
I think we're gonna see a difference out of them DBs this year.
I think too, quiet as kept. I'm gonna keep one eye cracked open and looking at the Giants and see what kind of defense they're gonna have this year.
Me too.
I just want to see. I want to see.
Yes.
Was it his scheme or was it? I want to see.
I want to see
what Taylor says. Move Big Jeff over to C gap.
You might see that
on some edge rushes.
You might see that.
I mean, that'll free get him one-on-one against the tackle.
Yes, you might see that.
Yeah, so a lot of camp battles, man. A lot of comeback players and Farley and Malik and Burks getting that opportunity. And I think, man, the competition is great, and I love it. There's a lot more talent than what it looked like last year on this roster. They did a great job overhauling this roster in one season. It's going to go as far as Levis. If the offensive line plays up to the potential, the right side is just the only concern because we don't know, what that's going to look like as far as tackle. But if we get the offensive line set a steady state, we got the receivers, we got the tight end, we got the skill positions are fine.
Yes.
It's just the quarterback. Can Will Levis put a game together? We see him in practice throwing deep balls, throwing darts in coverage. Still having some issues throwing the ball in tight spaces, which we're gonna have those things. But I think they'll coach him up, man. But if man.
That could be. The one thing I liked today that I saw in practice. The best way you combat your offensive line is to not make them block long. And you saw a lot
of the ball. That's right.
So and it was brought up, I forgot who I was listening to on the radio. When you think about Cincinnati, there was a lot of times you saw Joe Burrow throw short screens, short passes, etc., and give his receivers a chance to make a move and be gone. And you've got the athletes to do that. Think about Calvin Ridley. First of all, if you have not watched any video
route
running, Calvin Ridley.
That's his X factor.
That is his X factor. It is amazing to watch them feet work of his. So if you can get them in small in quick spaces and make a move, I foresee this offense having a lot of yak yards to help Will Levis come along.
I do too. So Rodney, to your point, I think to that statement that you saw the ball that he overthrew Calvin because he got rid of the ball so fast.
Yes,
because whoever the DB was 32, he got smoked. I got to look that. Oh, that was Gabe Judy, so that's the undrafted free agent. But yeah, he was, and he overthrew him. But yeah, if the comeback route is the best. Ridley, D-Hop.
Rodney, I see you calling out Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd he's set. That's your security blanket outside of the tight end because he knows this offense. He is the slot technician, and that's what he's going to do. And he's made some heck of a plays so far that you've seen from him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, I mean, again, and then the running backs, man, interchangeable, 1A, 1B, who starts, I mean, it doesn't matter who starts right now. But I think there's some opportunities, though, man, exciting. I can't wait to see, another thing that's different for us here over the last 4 or 5 seasons. We hardly ever saw the starters play in preseason, or at least for the last 3 seasons.
Yes.
But Callie said the starters are going to play.
They playing.
They going to play.
I think you see every starter once, with the exception of L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think goes out there. I don't think you see D-Hop go out. I could see Ridley and Tyler Boyd only because there's already a connection there with chemistry there. Defensive wise, I'd be shocked if you saw Jeff, but he would be the only defensive starter outside of the DB that I don't think you would see. Other than that, I think every starter start. I think 2 weeks from now, on the 10th, I think you see the starters take a series at minimum.
Yes, no doubt. And so I want everybody that's on here tonight, and then whoever watches after we post the show, that let's just take account of what we saw the past 2-3 seasons where the starters never played in preseason. Mm-hmm. And it always took to week 4 of the season for this team to be in some football shape. Yeah. So let's just watch that. I'm going to keep track of that and see if we were wrong on what we were saying. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because I know that was the problem.
Yeah.
These guys are still trying to get in game shape.
Get in game shape.
In week 1.
Yes.
And then it takes 4 to 5 games, and here you are with these slow starts. And everybody's always trying to figure out, whatever, that's old regime. We talking about current. So, so yeah, and I love the fact that they're going to play, and that's good. And rightfully so, new schemes. But, but man, it's exciting times. I want to see Cedric Gray, even though we hadn't heard a lot about him.
Yeah, I want to see him too.
Want to see him against the Niners and see what he's going to do. And somebody was talking. Oh, Kenneth Murray was talking smack to Wiley today.
Yeah. And Wiley was chirping back.
Right.
Hey, that's my under the radar superstar for the camp. You know that Wiley's going to be a problem. And remember that you heard it here first.
He's going to be a problem.
He's going to be a problem mid-season. I have that feeling. Everybody was down on him after a couple drops last year, and then in preseason, and you saw glimpses of opportunities there. And I think in this offense, him and Chig, you're going to see. Wiley he's just a physical mismatch.
He is. He was 6'7", 6'8".
6'7", yes.
And he bulked up this offseason. And so it can run routes. Got a nice route tree for his size. And so
got a little swag about him now.
Got a little swag about his stuff. I think he's feeling comfortable. Again, look, just think about it, man. How much, and Rodney said it, Callie is setting the tone. How much of a difference does a different mentality from the coaching staff take? Yes. So now, the receivers don't have to work. I'm not saying they don't have to run block, but I'm just saying it's not their only,
job. Right. Put it this way, you don't have to worry about not being on the field if you ain't run blocking.
Right. If you're not run blocking. Right. Don't going in the doghouse because you don't run block and don't get to play that much. A healthy scratch. So,
yes.
Man. It's never bad to have too much talent, but this is going to be a tough cut down to 53. Now, the practice squad, again, 16 players on the practice squad, but, we know how that is. If you don't sign to a futures contract, man, somebody going to swipe them up.
Somebody snatch them up.
So it's going to be interesting to see the depth chart as we go forward, man. But looking for it, Nathan wants to know what Kyle Phillips make the team. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's the question mark. Kyle Phillips, Kearis Jackson.
He would be the one that I would say is on the outside looking in, because there's at least 3 or 4 guys with his type of mold that fit. And again, you got to think that this coaching staff drafted, was it Keandre Jackson? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
They drafted him. That is Kyle Phillips. He can play special teams. He can play the slot. He's shifty. So Kyle Phillips is the one to me that.
Oh, Jaquan Jackson.
Jaquan Jackson. He's the one that he's going to really need a really good camp. Going to really need to take advantage of his reps. He could be Mason Rudolph 2.0 on the practice squad.
He could
and be a good call up. That could be his new role, because I really feel like right now he's He's one of the ones that is on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and I think Mason Kinsey too, man. I don't know if he makes the team at all this year.
Yes.
Not even a practice squad.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be tough for him. I mean, Trayshawn Harrison's been having a good camp. Sam Sheeny, they brought him in, and so there's a lot of bodies in there. But like you said, Jaquan Jackson was drafted by this regime.
Yes,
and he is a punt return, kick return guy. Mm-hmm. He's good in short space. Yeah, I think he's gonna be.
And again, that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, the new kickoff. I mean, they said they had like 10,
crazy.
They had 10 different guys back there today when they were practicing it doing returns. So I think, and again, this is one that you probably heard a lot of people say this one. I think this is where Treylon Burks really can separate himself if he's back there on this new. And again, the kickoff return now is it's a football play. Like it literally just go Google the XFL the last year and this year and see theirs. It's a legitimate play. So the day you've got to have somebody like a Treylon Burks back there who's good in space, make one man miss, and you're gone because of how the blocks and stuff are set up. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as the season kicks off.
That's what you're looking forward to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to I want to see the defense play. I want to see it because we hadn't had an aggressive defense like this. I want to see, and I know I don't know because we don't know what he's going to show in preseason. I know he's not going to show all his tricks.
Yeah,
he's not going to pull out all his tricks out of the bag. But I mean, we know we're going to see some press coverage.
That's exactly what I was saying. If there's one thing we can guarantee, we know we're going to see 2 pass interferences on the first game.
We are definitely, Janoris Jenkins, what he used to get a PI game. I guarantee you, Sneed gonna get at least 2. Yes. Brownlee Jr. is going to get at least 2.
Roger's going to get about 3 holding calls.
Roger's going to get a holding call every time. So,
but again, as a Titan fan, you rather have that than them playing 3rd and 3 and they 8 yards off the ball.
Man, dude, I can't. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing out of all of the stuff. Yeah, Nathan, Jack Rabbit was solid, but you knew you were gonna get a PI.
Yes,
at least 1, if not 2. But he was solid. I'll give you that. He was definitely solid. A nice addition to the secondary. But I want to see an aggressive defense because we hadn't had that since Albert Haynesworth, Vanden Bosch. Those guys,
And what folks got to remember about aggressive, my bad, I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
If you look at it, this is a crazy stat, and I've heard it several times and looked it up. The Ravens, the Titans blitzed more than the Ravens last year.
That don't make any sense to me.
Exactly. So when we say aggressive, we're not meaning for them to blitz. Aggressive is up in your face cornerback. Aggressive is this D-line. I feel like the D-line is going to be taught to gap control, hit the gap and go. That's aggressiveness. So when we say aggressive and you're like, well, we ain't seeing no blitzes, we ain't seeing that don't necessarily mean that. Because I think there's a difference between a cornerback playing 1 yard in your face aggressive and playing 8 yards off the ball. That ain't aggressive.
that is some truth behind it. You're right. And I also think too, if you go back to think about the blitzes that the Titans ran last year, what was it? A slot blitz.
Every time. That was shown every single time.
Every time.
And there was no gap control on. Like it was a waste of a blitz.
Right.
So to your point, a linebacker blitz is an aggressive play because we don't see those.
We didn't see them at all. The few times that we did see it when they blitzed Shazier.
Yeah.
I mean, he got in there.
Yes.
And so caused some problems. But, that was too much like right.
Yes.
But man, thank y'all again for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnell, J. Lou, G. Will to be back with us, man. He's out tonight, man. Camp 2024 Tennessee Titans, man. Back at you, back again. Can't wait. First preseason game next week gets the 49ers. And we'll see what happens, man. We want to see the offense. A lot of the one more thing, man, before we jump off. But I like the motion. We're not used to seeing that around here. Saw some zing motion when he brought the receiver in the backfield, flipped him back out. I mean, this is just stuff we hadn't seen. And I know Deion's not on here, but he talked about that being that he's a Houston guy. And that what he saw with the Houston Oilers, he said we're going to see something we hadn't seen in Tennessee with these receivers on the team, and he's right. We saw that in the practice on Saturday. the different formations, the different motions. I mean, all kind of stuff, all kind of different stuff, man.
Yes,
and the coaching to go along with it. So, man, exciting times. I'm telling you, we're gonna compete for the AFC South. Yeah. I'm going to record and say it. We're gonna be in the race for the AFC South, no doubt. No doubt about it. But it out there, J. Lou, man, for halftime adjustment. Again, thank y'all for joining us tonight, man. Look out for the next show. We'll put that out there. We're going to come back, man. We'll be talking about the 49ers, particularly after their first preseason game, and seeing what if Caleb Farley and Treylon Burks and these guys that we mentioned tonight, are they going to still continue to progress? Because if Caleb Farley continues to play like he is, we're going to have a problem in the secondary because somebody's not going to get no playing time. Yes. And one thing they can do is not rush Cheeto back, right, from the calf.
There you go. If you can get Jarvis Brownlee, or you can get Caleb, and what was my undrafted guy, Gabe Judy. Judy. If you can get them to remotely continue on their progression up, to your point, you don't have to rush Cheeto back.
Right.
I'll take my chances with them as opposed to Cheeto rushing back and making a calf injury even worse. And again, I think we're going to see this. Soft tissue injuries are going to happen. I know we hate them around here. It's interesting to see this new strength and conditioning teams, how they go about the injuries. I mean, they do. If you listen to them and all, they've got a new stretch routine that they've done. I think if it wasn't today, it was yesterday. One of the days it passed, probably today, they actually had a drill simulating tackling where they were going to the ground with tackling. So actually putting some pads on each other. And that was something that was new from listening to some of the reporters from around that's been around the team. So they've implemented some things to kind of work and help from a health and from a safety standpoint. Because again, it's football. So there's going to be injuries. It's going to happen. But how can you minimize them, and how can you have that next man ready to go? And you can only be with the young talent that we got behind them, getting the coaching that they need. That can only be progression, especially going into this preseason.
And you've got to, how do you get your body ready to tackle? You've got to tackle.
You got to tackle.
You got to tackle. You just can't go in there and be like, oh, I'm going to start tackling today in the first game
in
week 1. Right? You got to tackle. Because you got to prepare your body for it, man. Because it hurts. It hurts to tackle.
Yes.
I know it does. It hurts to tackle. In some cases, it hurts a lot. It just depends. But you got a big 240-pound running back or a big 250-pound tight end coming at your full speed.
Man, yeah. That ain't fun.
No, it's not fun. So you got to get prepared. You know, that's part of lifting and stretching. Stretching, I bet you if they've implemented a stretching routine, that's going to help a lot. Stretching keeps a lot of injuries from happening. And so, but yeah, man, it's exciting time. Can't wait for the first preseason game. We got football tomorrow night.
We do.
We got Hall of Fame game tomorrow night with the Bears. They already said Caleb Williams is not playing.
Yeah.
And the Texans, right? And so, probably won't see Stroud.
You will see out of the 90-man roster, you'll see the back 45.
Yeah, that's right.
Tomorrow.
Those guys trying to make those final 8 positions.
Because this don't really count as a preseason game for them because they still got 3 more to go. So these will be all the folks that's battling for positions.
Right, no doubt.
But to again, your point, it's football.
Yeah, it's football and it's back, and we ready for it, man.
Yes,
so again, thank y'all for joining us, man, tonight. J. Lou, Eddie out there.